The text came in at 6:32 p.m. on March 15th, 2024, our 10th wedding anniversary. Stuck at work, big deadline, so sorry babe. Happy 10th anniversary. I'll make it up to you this weekend. Love you. 3 heart emojis, a kiss face. The digital shorthand of a woman who had been lying to me for 14 months and had gotten so comfortable with it that she could decorate her lies with little cartoon hearts. I was sitting in my truck in the parking lot of Bastions, a French-American restaurant on East Carey Street, in Richmond's Shockoe Bottom, wearing a charcoal suit I'd bought 3 days earlier. Not from Nordstrom, from a consignment shop on Broad Street, because master electricians don't have Nordstrom budgets. But a man's 10th wedding anniversary only happens once, and I wanted to look like I understood that. Stargazer lilies sat on the passenger seat, Paige's favorite. The ones she'd carried at our wedding, the ones I'd had delivered to her office every March 15th for 10 years straight. This year I wanted to hand them to her myself, watch her face, see if she still looked at me the way she did when she was 29 and I was 32, standing in a church in Church Hill, promising each other forever. I read the text again, almost drove home, almost called my buddy Knox for a beer instead, but I'd already paid the $80 non-refundable deposit, and $80 mattered when you ran a small electrical contracting business. So I figured I'd go in, eat alone, drink something expensive, and toast 10 years of marriage by myself. That decision, walking in instead of driving home, is the reason I'm telling you this story. I got seated near the back, next to a window overlooking the alley, ordered a glass of Barolo, set the lilies on the empty chair across from me, picked up the menu. Then I looked up. Across the restaurant, half hidden behind a decorative wooden screen, I saw a black dress. Not just any black dress, the one I'd bought Paige for Christmas from a boutique in Carytown, the one she'd tried on and twirled in, and said she was saving for something special. She was wearing it tonight, at Bastions, on our anniversary, the anniversary she was too busy to celebrate with me. She was sitting across from a man, silver-haired, tanned, a suit that probably cost more than my truck payment. His hand rested on hers over the tablecloth. Champagne between them, the thin-stemmed kind you only see where people spend money like water. He said something. She laughed, the real laugh, the unguarded one I used to hear across our kitchen. She was giving it to someone else now. Then she leaned across the table and kissed him. Not a peck. A kiss with history and intention behind it. The kind I hadn't gotten from my own wife in months. The restaurant noise collapsed into a single high note, like a wire right before it snaps. My knuckles went white on the table edge. I stood up. I was going to walk over there, flip that table, ask my wife how her deadline was going, in front of everyone in the room. I made it 2 steps before a hand closed around my forearm. Sit down. Low voice, female. Calm in the specific way that isn't relaxed but controlled. The calm of someone trained to be steady when everyone else breaks. I turned. A woman I'd never seen. Late 40s. Dark hair pulled back tight. Navy blazer over a white blouse. No jewelry except a plain, functional watch. The posture of someone who'd spent years in rooms where standing correctly mattered. Law enforcement, maybe. Military. Something that turns the body into a tool instead of a decoration. Let go of my arm. Sit down first. Lady, I don't know who you are, but my wife is over there kissing another man, and you're about to watch me make the biggest mistake of my life. She didn't raise her voice, didn't loosen her grip. I know exactly who that man is. I know exactly who your wife is. I know exactly what's happening at that table, and I need you to sit down, because the real show is about to start. It wasn't the words, it was the certainty behind them. Solid, load-bearing. I sat. She sat across from me, in Paige's chair, next to Paige's lilies. Vivian Hale, private investigator. She slid a card across the table with 2 fingers. I was hired 3 months ago by a woman named Marguerite Ryland. Doesn't mean anything to you yet. It will. She's the second ex-wife of the man your wife is currently kissing. His name is Sterling Mercer, CEO of Mercer Gaines Capital, where your wife works, and their affair is about to cost him $5 million. Across the room, a waiter brought Paige and Sterling a second bottle of champagne. My anniversary lilies wilted in the empty chair beside me. I'm going to need you to explain that, I said. I will. First, I need 30 minutes. Don't approach them. Don't let them know you're here. I have a colleague outside with a camera, and another waiting at the Jefferson Hotel, where Mr. Mercer has a standing reservation in room 4-2. Blow this up now, and you get a shouting match. Wait, and you get everything. I ordered another glass of wine, and Vivian told me a story that made the champagne across the room taste like poison in my imagination. Sterling Mercer, 52, founder of Mercer Gaines Capital, Old Virginia money, worth roughly $40 million, twice divorced. The second marriage, to Vivian's client Marguerite, ended in 2021, after Marguerite discovered Sterling's 2-year affair with his executive assistant, Elise Corwin. Marguerite's attorney negotiated an $8 million settlement, plus something unusual, a morality clause. If Sterling had another workplace affair within 5 years, he'd owe an additional $5 million. His own lawyer told him not to sign it. He signed it anyway, certain he could control himself. He couldn't. Your wife is Sterling's current executive assistant, Vivian said. Started in 2018. Based on my surveillance, this affair began 14 months ago, in January of last year. 14 months. I thought about the late nights, the new clothes that didn't match her salary, the distance in bed, the conversations that went nowhere. 14 months of lies, and I'd believed every one. There's more, she said, sliding over a folded bank statement. During my investigation into Sterling, my forensic team found your wife has been receiving payments beyond her salary, $15,000 a month, into a personal account at Virginia National Bank, in her name only. From an entity called Mercer Advisory LLC. What is that? A shell company registered to Sterling. No employees, no clients, no operations. Its sole purpose, as far as I can tell, is funneling money to your wife. 14 months, roughly $210,000. I looked at the number on the page, $211,847.33. My hands started doing something they'd never done in 20 years of handling Livewire, trembling, out of my control. She's been hiding that, while we're married. Yes, in Virginia, that's subject to equitable distribution. Half of it is legally yours. But more than that, concealing assets during a marriage destroys credibility in court. And in custody disputes, a parent who spent over a year systematically deceiving their spouse isn't one the court tends to favor. Why are you telling me this? Your client's the ex-wife. What do you get out of helping me? My job is building the case that triggers the morality clause. Your wife is the evidence. The photographs, the hotel records, the financial trail. All of it proves Sterling violated the clause. Marguerite gets her $5 million. And everything I've gathered about your wife becomes yours to use. Because the evidence doesn't care who it belongs to. She paused. I was a detective for 14 years before I became a PI. I've watched a lot of marriages end. Most end messy. Thrown dishes, scenes that feel good for 10 minutes and then curdle into regret. I'm offering you the other kind of ending. Quiet, calculated, devastating. 6 months from now, the woman who lied to you on your anniversary is sitting in a courtroom watching everything she built on your trust collapse. I sat with that for a long time. Tell me what to do. Go home. Kiss your kids goodnight. Act normal. Tomorrow, call an attorney. I'll send the full case file. And tonight, they're leaving here for that hotel, and my colleague will document every second of it. Time-stamped. Admissible. By morning I'll have a package no judge in Virginia will ignore. I stood, left cash for the wine, picked up the lilies I'd bought for a woman who maybe didn't exist anymore, maybe never had. Mr. Sable, Vivian said as I turned to go. Happy anniversary. Not cruel, not sarcastic, just the quiet acknowledgement of a woman who'd spent a career watching lives get dismantled, offering the only thing she had left to give, the truth, even when it cuts like a knife. I drove home at 9:07 that night, paid the babysitter, locked the door, went upstairs, and stood in my kid's doorway for 20 minutes. Ryland, 7, sprawled sideways across his bed with his baseball glove still on the nightstand from the season I'd coached. Odette, 4, curled around her stuffed rabbit, thumb hovering near her mouth. I didn't cry. Something harder than tears was forming in my chest. Not rage, not grief. Resolution. The cold, structural certainty that I was going to dismantle the life my wife had built. Not with noise, with the same methodical precision I use wiring a building, so the lights stay on where they belong. My name is Aldrich Sable, born in Church Hill, Richmond in 1980, raised by my mother Della, a postal worker for 31 years who never once let us see her struggle. I became an electrician because circuits made sense in a way school never did. Started Sable Electric in 2009 with a van and a $12,000 credit union loan, paid it back in 18 months. By 2024, 8 employees, 3 property management contracts, and a reputation across Richmond for showing up on time and doing the work right. I met Paige Langford in 2012 at a barbecue in the Fan District. Married her March 15, 2014, at St. Patrick's in Church Hill. 70 guests. My mother's potato salad. A reception at the VFW Hall. 8 good years. Ryland in 2016. Odette in 2019. Paige started at Mercer Gaines Capital in 2018, and I was happy for her. Happy right up until the admiration in her voice for Sterling Mercer quietly became something else, and I didn't notice the shift. The distance started in late 2022. Later nights, shorter conversations, the small daily, "How was your day?" eroding into nothing. I told myself it was stress, the ordinary wear every marriage goes through. I chose to fight for it. I planned the anniversary dinner, bought the suit, picked up the lilies, booked bastions because she'd mentioned once, months back, that she'd heard it was romantic. She'd filed that detail too, for a different dinner, with a different man. The next morning I called Boone Taggart, 53, divorce attorney, former JAG officer, office on Main Street, in a building that used to be a bank, which felt about right, since divorce in Virginia is basically a financial audit, conducted under emotional duress. "Walk me through it," Boone said. I did, all of it. When I finished, he asked how I felt. Like I've been wiring a house for 10 years, and just found out the whole thing's on the wrong circuit. "That's about right." He opened a legal pad. "Virginia's fault-based. Adultery is grounds, and you have professional-grade evidence. The hidden account is concealment of marital assets. That's going to gut her credibility in equitable distribution. And money funneled from her boss, the man she's sleeping with, through a shell company built specifically to hide it from you. That's not just deception, Aldrich. That's a conspiracy between your wife and her employer to defraud you. What about custody? A parent who spent 14 months systematically lying, hid $210,000, and had an affair with her boss isn't a parent the court favors. I'll push for primary custody. Based on what you've told me, I think we get it." Vivian's evidence package landed on Boone's desk the following week. 47 photographs across 3 months, 11 documented visits to room 412 at the Jefferson, credit card receipts, the bank statements, discovery texts between Paige and Sterling, and the pattern proving this wasn't the first time Sterling had done this to a marriage. Boone filed on April 3rd. Paige was served at her desk, in front of Sterling's corner office overlooking the James River. That night she came home in tears. "Aldrich, why are you doing this?" I was at the kitchen table, the same table we'd eaten 10 years of dinners at, where Ryland did homework and Odette drew horses. Just a glass of water in front of me. No documents, no evidence, no props, just the truth. "You know why? Is this because I've been working late?" "Paige, stop." She stopped. "I was at Bastion's on our anniversary. I saw you." The color drained out of her face, the way current drains from a circuit when you kill the breaker. All at once, complete. "You were. I made a reservation for us. I sat 2 tables away and watched you kiss Sterling Mercer, while the text about being stuck at work was still on my phone." I took a sip of water. "I know everything, Paige. Not because I spied on you, because someone else was already watching him, and they found you in the frame. 14 months. $210,000 hidden in an account I didn't know existed. 11 nights at the Jefferson. 47 photographs." She sat down on the floor, like her legs had stopped taking signals from her brain. "The kids, Aldrich. Please don't take the kids." "I'm not taking anything that isn't mine. I'm not giving up anything that is." She begged for counseling, for a chance to end it with Sterling that night. I told her, Counseling doesn't fix a hidden account, a rehearsed excuse, and a text with heart emojis sent from another man's table. That was the last real conversation of my marriage. The divorce took 5 months. Paige's attorney argued the hidden account was personal savings. Boone produced the Mercer Advisory LLC records, showing the source. He argued the affair was irrelevant to custody. Boone laid out 14 months of sustained, engineered deception. The judge wasn't moved by either defense. The account, $211,847.33, was frozen and split. I was awarded primary custody during the school week. Paige got alternating weekends. The house on Montrose Avenue stayed with me and the kids. Sterling's reckoning ran in parallel. Marguerite's attorney moved to enforce the morality clause in April. Sterling's lawyers fought it for 3 months. In July, a judge ruled it enforceable. $5 million owed. 3 major clients pulled their money once the pattern became public knowledge in Richmond's business circles. His fund dropped from roughly $200 million under management to $140. He didn't go broke. Men like Sterling never do. But he went from respected to merely tolerated, which for a man whose entire identity ran on status was its own kind of death. Paige was let go from Mercer Gaines under the label restructuring, no severance, no reference, an NDA sealing her mouth on the way out. Vivian sent one final report once Marguerite's case closed. Professional, no flourishes. At the bottom, handwritten. The patience paid off. I hope the next chapter is better than the last. She was right. It is. A year has passed. This past March 15th, I didn't go to Bastion's. Didn't buy lilies. I took Ryland and Odette for pizza on Broad Street, and Odette won a stuffed penguin from the claw machine and named it Electric, because that's apparently what electricity looks like to a 5-year-old. Sable Electric is steady. 2 new contracts this year, a 9th employee, a young apprentice from Church Hill named Darius who reminds me of myself at 22. All ambition and no polish. Knox still comes by Fridays with beer and opinions about my truck's alignment and my non-existent dating life. I'm not ready yet. The wiring in my personal life needs a full inspection before I connect anything new. My mother, 69 now and retired, comes by twice a week and takes over my kitchen entirely, the way she's always done everything, with fierce, quiet competence. You did the right thing, baby, she told me on the porch last month. Not making a scene, not giving that woman the satisfaction of watching you fall apart in public. Who taught me that? Me, and the United States Postal Service. Rain, snow, sleet, hail, cheating spouses, you just keep delivering. Ryland's 8 now, working on a curveball his coach says is promising, and I say hold off till he's 12, or he'll wreck his elbow. He asked me once, riding along in my truck on a teacher workday, if what happened with his mom was a wrong wire. Something like that, buddy, I told him. But the house is rewired now, and the lights are on. A year ago I was 2 steps from destroying everything in a restaurant on Carey Street. A stranger caught my arm and told me to stay calm, that the real show was about to start. I stayed calm. The show started, and when it ended, the lights went out for everyone who'd been operating in the dark. Mine stayed on. They always do.